What's up, you guys? Cameron Cornish here, your #1 real estate agent in St. George. In today's video, we're going to be talking about cons of living in St. George, because there's definitely some things that took us some getting used to when we moved here from a bigger city, and that's what I want to prepare you for. Some of these things might be subjective, but I think for the large majority of people that are maybe relocating from another state, or like I said, a bigger city, let's do it together in today's video though. This is living in STG. Let's do it. All right, you guys, one of the cons that I can think of right off the bat, which might be an obvious one, but it's the extreme summer heat, okay? It definitely gets hot here in St. George, sometimes pushing 100, 110 degrees, and that can be kind of extreme for a lot of people, especially if you're coming from, let's say, somewhere up north, or maybe a place where you get a lot of snow. Now, with that being said, that's only about 3 months out of the year. We often boast about 360 days of sunshine here. Unfortunately, about 90 of those 360 are really, really hot. But overall, the rest of the year, it's really good weather. And let me also just say this, we do have a lot of ways to escape that heat out here. That's one thing I'm very grateful for. There's a lot of opportunities to get in the water. You know, good thing about St. George is we have quite a few lakes: Sand Hollow, Quail Creek, we got Gunlock. One of our favorite places that we used to go when we lived in Santa Clara was Ivan's Res, aka Fire Lake. That was a great little getaway and an awesome place for the kids to hang out and just get into the water. Not to mention, a lot of the city recs have really nice pools with slides. Really, really fun time for the kids, and there's quite a few splash pads around here as well. So yes, even though it gets hot, there's definitely some ways to escape that heat. I understand that it can be a shock for a lot of people, so make sure you're aware and prepared for that. Honestly, the only way to get prepared for it is just go through it. That's what you got to do out here. Definitely say #1 is the extreme heat out here. All right, you guys, moving on to con #2. This is definitely something that took some time to getting used to, and still to this day, I'm not used to it. It frustrates me every time we run into a scenario where this happens. So here's what it is, you guys. #2 is most businesses are closed on Sunday, right? I know maybe where you come from, that's a normal thing, but coming from Las Vegas, 24/7 city, you know, on Sundays, if we want to go to a restaurant or go do some shopping or something like that, we could definitely do it. But out here in St. George, after church, if we want to go grab food somewhere and we have a place in mind, you know, we almost always drive there, and guess what? It's closed. Now, on the other side of things, I can understand why. I've actually grown to very much like this concept, because before moving to St. George, I never took a Sunday off. I've been, you know, self-employed now for almost 15 years, and so I would always work on Sundays. But since we moved to St. George, I don't. I can definitely say I'm way more happier. You got to have that balance, and so definitely taking Sundays off has helped me, but it can be frustrating. Now, besides some of the bigger chain places, right, if you want to go to a Target on a Sunday, sure, Target's going to be open, Walmart's going to be open, some fast food restaurants are going to be open, but for the most part, if we're talking local businesses, yeah, they're closed on Sunday. Definitely keep that in mind. It's not just Chick-fil-A, and you know, that's going to take some getting used to, especially if you come from a bigger city. Okay, so this next one is not so much of as a con as it is something you're probably going to have to get used to depending on where you come from. But one thing I've noticed since living here in St. George is it's a little bit of a slower paced lifestyle. Maybe that's because, you know, maybe some of the mature demographic that lives here in St. George. I'm not entirely sure, but one thing I did notice is that things just move slower. People aren't driving, weaving in and out of traffic, trying to get to where they're supposed to go to. Things just move at a different pace and a different level out here. Maybe it's because it's a smaller size city. That definitely took us some getting used to, okay? But it's not just the traffic, you know, even some of the businesses move a little bit slower. I'm used to more of a service-based kind of business lifestyle coming from Las Vegas, where things get done fast, things get done right away. Everyone's fighting for your business, so they want to get the job done. But I can think of a few instances since we've been here where things just took longer than they should have, whether it be getting a window replaced or getting our home cleaned by cleaning people. it just seemed like things weren't getting done as fast as I was used to. And maybe that's a normal thing for people that live here in St. George, but maybe somebody who's coming from a bigger city, it might bug you a little bit and it's going to take some getting used to. So I would definitely say that's another con as far as living here in St. George. Okay, let's talk about this one because it's probably one of the first things that comes to people's mind when they think about St. George. All you got to do is drive through downtown St. George and you're going to start to realize there's really not a whole lot of nightlife, okay? Now, there's a little bit of a college scene and there's some bars here and there and some places you can go for maybe live music or karaoke, but overall, it's not an entertainment kind of city. And so because of that, it definitely doesn't have much nightlife potential out here in St. George. Coming from Las Vegas, again, took some getting used to, right? Whether it be really, really nice 5-star restaurants or just a place to go out, grab a few drinks with my wife and have some fun. Now, you can fix that very easily because what most people don't realize is St. George is only a 2-hour drive from Las Vegas. It's not that far at all. So if that's something that's important to you and your spouse or your family or whatever it might be, always remember you're only 2 hours away from Vegas. And so that's something that we do. We still have a lot of family that lives out in Las Vegas, so we actually go visit quite often. And it's a good little escape. I definitely like Vegas more as a tourist than I do as a local. And so it's awesome to be able to retreat back here to St. George, have our awesome family life here, and then go out and party a little bit when we get to Vegas. It's just the way it goes. So definitely keep that in mind as well. There's a fix for that, but overall, you're gonna have to drive to get the kind of nightlife you're probably looking for. So there you have it, con number 4. Let's talk about number 5. Okay, number 5, you guys, I would say culture, or I should say the lack thereof. Now, what do I mean by that? This, again, is completely subjective, and maybe it doesn't pertain to you at all. But again, coming from a bigger city, there's a lot of culture in bigger cities. And so out here in St. George, especially being predominantly Caucasian out here, there's not a whole lot of culture. And I like culture. I haven't been able to find a great Mexican restaurant here. I haven't been able to find soul food. I haven't been able to find a lot of things that I would find very easily coming from a bigger city. Another kind of part of that culture is there's a conservative culture out here as well, which to me is a huge pro, but maybe it might not be for you. Maybe you lean a little bit more the other way. Well, overall, it's a pretty conservative culture out here, especially because of the LDS church is still a big part of this city. And I actually really enjoy the LDS culture. I might not agree with everything that they teach theologically, but I can definitely say the culture that they've created around God and family and business, it's created a very safe environment here in St. George, and it's just hard to find in America anymore, if I'm being honest with you, right? So definitely keep that in mind. I would say culture could be another con, just depending on who you are and where you come from. So it's definitely something to think about for sure. But that's con number 5. Now, I do have a bonus one for you guys here, so stay tuned. I always appreciate you guys clicking on my videos, and those were definitely my top 5 cons as far as living here in St. George. Some things you're going to have to get used to if you're contemplating moving here or relocating here. So definitely keep that in mind and let me know. Text me, call me, email me, whatever you want to do. But I want to know more about your plans and what you're thinking as far as making St. George your future home. And hopefully these videos are helping you guys make decisions as well. But here's my bonus con, okay, is the fact that bicyclists and the Ironman runners, I don't know why they have to be so close to the dang roads, but I always almost hit them, right? It's one of those things you're going to have to get used to out here. Everybody's into fitness and health. And so you're going to have people riding their bicycles like literally right on the line. And it can be kind of annoying sometimes. It took me some getting used to, and I'm still getting used to it. Try not to hit those bicyclists on the road. Be safe out there, you guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.